I lost my footage for Welder Mewtwo, so we'll have to do Firebox instead. Welcome back everyone to more from the Stabilized. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to be taking a look at Firebox. We were going to look at Welder Mewtwo, but I lost the footage, unfortunately, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow for that one. Welder Mewtwo was equal second on our last vote on Twitter, at the Stabilized_YT, to follow us there, and Firebox was fourth, so we'll finish that one off. We'll do Welder Mewtwo tomorrow, and there will be, in the next couple of days, another poll on Twitter for you to select the next couple of decks. We've got a few ideas brewing, so we'll chuck up some there over the next couple of days. Hopefully you can get along and vote, but hey, without anything else, let's quickly take a look at the list for Firebox. So, Firebox is always a tough one when it comes to opening cards, but this particular card I think is the thing that makes Firebox so strong. Heatran-GX, we've got 2 copies of this card in the list, and it's my favourite attacker when you're looking at a basic Firebox list. It has a simple attack, 130 damage Steaming Stomp for 2 fire and a colourless. Perfectly acceptable, and you can power that up with Welder, as well as the Burning Road ability. Then you've got Hot Burn GX, which will enable you to potentially take a one-shot on almost anything in the format, depending on how many energy you have in play. So Heatran is our main attacker. We also have a couple of other interesting fire attackers in this list. We've got Victini V over on the right there. We've got Energy Burst, which will always deal a relatively respectable amount of damage, 30 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. So it's base 60 damage, because you need to have 2 energy attached to Victini. You can potentially get an infinite amount of damage with this card as well, although realistically you're probably going to be looking at around 150 as a baseline. Most things are attacking for 3 energies these days, maybe 120 against the Dragapult, but you know, it's not the end of the world if you're doing that. Spreading Flames is also an excellent option that you can use to move some energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon. You can accelerate 3, so start setting up some knockouts as well. Put some energy on the field that Heatran can pick up, or some energy that can be discarded by Turtonator. Explosive Jet is still an incredibly strong fire attack. It's a very difficult Pokemon to set up sometimes, but if you have got a Victini V, then you can potentially save some of that energy, put it on the field, and then Turtonator can Explosive Jet for knockout. 3 more attackers to look at. There's lots of different ones. We've got 1 copy of Torkoal V in the list. This card's actually really strong for a couple of reasons. Combustion Pillar does 90 damage for 3, plus if there's a fire energy on top of our deck, it does 90 more, so you can essentially roll the dice to see if you do 180. But for 4 energy, we have Steam Crush 120, which will discard 2 energy from our opponent's active Pokemon. When we think about the Pokemon that are in play at the moment, things like Pikarom, ADP Zacian, we've got things like Dragapult. Most of those Pokemon, when 2 energy get discarded from them, really struggle to get back attacking. So if we can get that Steam Crush attack off, we could potentially give ourselves an extra turn to set up a big knockout. So definitely worth considering. And we also have a Victini Prism, a large energy count. Will obviously power up this Infinity attack quite quickly. 20 times the amount of energy that we have in the discard pile gets shuffled back into the deck. So it's a good utility attack for the end game. Similarly, at the end of the game, we might even choose to attack with Dubwool V. Revenge Blast does 120 plus 30 more damage for every prize that our opponent has taken. Presuming that they've taken 4 or 5, we can easily get ourselves a pretty solid hit here. Something like 240 or 270 damage. So pretty happy with that. That seems reasonable. Our rest of our Pokemon line is designed around getting Welder into play as quickly as possible, as well as using Ninetales for our Gust. It's the classic Firebox Gust option. We still don't use Boss's Orders in Firebox. 9 Temptations is just better. And we have all sorts of other cards in the list designed to get those Welders off quickly. Jirachi and Dedenne are going to obviously get those cards into your hand nice and quickly, and the single Eldegoss V means that you can easily grab the Welder back anytime you need. There's also a very kind of weird split of cards in this list. We've got 2 Fiery Flint and 1 Giant Hearth for energy search. You could potentially interchange those if you don't think Chaotic Swell is going to be a big deal. You can always play down another Giant Hearth. We've gone for 2 Flints in this one because Swell is a little bit on the radar at the moment. We also have 2 copies of Pokégear, which is a weird count as well, but it's kind of like extra slot that you're happy to have, so you may as well just try and use it to find more Welder. If you've played Firebox decks before, you'll know that if you don't play Welder on a specific turn, you probably go on to lose that game. So Pokégear is just a little bit of insurance. You can Jirachi hit a Pokégear and then hit a Welder, and you should be fine. The rest of the deck is relatively self-explanatory. There's nothing else really worth talking about here. The one Reset Stamp I think is quite good. You could argue that you need to have 2 for it to be effective, but most of the time you should be okay. And obviously, we've got 18 Fire Energy to really make use of Ninetales and Victini Prism in this list. So, a really, really good deck to start off with. It's a nice and simple one, nothing crazy going on, and it has the potential to one-shot pretty much anything in the format. What we'll do is we'll take it out onto the ladder and we'll see if we can get ourselves a game with it. So those Firebox decks, moving away from what we used to call Ability Zard, no Reshi Zards in the list anymore, but it is important to remember that when you've got Welder and lots of Fire Energy, there are a ton of different Pokemon that you could potentially include in this list, so by no means is this Firebox list a perfect 60, it's just a solid assortment of Pokemon, and we've got a pretty solid one in the active here, Dubwool V. Not the best Pokemon to start with, but with the hand that we've got, Heat Factory, Fire Energy, Welder, we've got a Quick Ball as well. We are going second, so we're going to be able to Welder if we want to. I think we've got ourselves a pretty solid start. It just, of course, depends on what our opponent ends up playing. I'm thinking we might be able to like Quick Ball and grab a Jirachi, maybe just Welder if we get an Energy. You really want to make sure that you're Weldering for 2, though, in a Firebox deck, rather than just for 1. 1 can be a little bit underwhelming. Looks like our opponent started with the Oranguru. They've got Quick Ball as well, and discarding a metal and getting an ADP. So it looks like we'll be playing ADP Zacian. And you'd think that this matchup actually wouldn't be too bad, considering the fact that Zacian is weak to fire, but in reality, this is going to be quite difficult because we have a lot of 2 prize Pokemon that are below Zacian's damage output. So if they get their GX attack off, which they very easily could with 1 energy on their ADP already, we might actually find ourselves in a position where we need to win before they can attack twice. This Eldegoss is not great. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to play the Heat Factory down. Let's just burn it and see what happens. We got very, very lucky there to get 2 Fire Energy. How good was that? We can Pokécom the Eldegoss back in, and now we can start looking for a Pokemon to utilize with this Welder. Grab Heatran. Heatran's usually my go-to in this situation. I'm just trying to decide whether Torkoal is maybe better, but I think that we'll go with the Heatran. That does seem like a good option, and then we'll Welder 2 energy onto it. So that is a crazy, crazy hand to have. 3 switches, that's very unfortunate. We'll grab Vulpix so that we can Gust. We'll also probably grab ourselves a Dedenne here, because we want to move our hand along a little bit. We've got a switch into the Heatran, we've got an energy that we can attach, so we'll be taking a knockout this turn, and then we'll Dedenne our hand away. Now this is really, really strong, because it means, wow, we've got the Welder and the double energy as well. I think we can probably discard a couple of those with Fiery Flint, just to make sure that we're a little bit closer to getting that Victini Prism attacking. But I think this hand is really, really strong. We can Steaming Stomp here. They're going to need to GX. We have the potential knockout next turn with the Heatran-GX, with the Heatran with the Hot Burn GX. Stumbled through that one. If they put a big charm on, that'll be painful, but if they don't, we should be fine. We've got 3 energy in the bin, so we're looking okay, but we do need to make sure that we keep getting those energy. Now, they've had to discard a lot of resources there off of that Dedenne, so looking pretty good, and there's no guarantee that they'll get the water energy either. They managed to find Zacian, though, so that is a positive for them. Boss's orders, okay, that's a big deal because we've already burnt through 3 switches, so that is really unfortunate. We could Welder and get the energy onto the double to attack, but is it worth it? I'm not sure. Looks like our opponent here getting rid of Great Catcher with the Quick Ball. They're going to grab themselves a Pokemon, maybe a Jirachi, maybe a Mewtwo or something like that, to potentially give themselves an option for next turn. But it doesn't look like they're going to be GXing, so that's positive. Oh, they're custom catchering for 3. Okay, so they've got Boss's Orders, Great Catcher, and Custom Catcher. That's insane. And they got the Water Energy. Oh no. Okay, so that's very frustrating. Now, we need to make a decision about what we're going to do. Realistically, we can Heat Factory, so we can take a look at a couple of cards here. They are not cards that I'm really happy to see. We could Welder, and I guess we'll just put that energy... I guess we just put it on the active. There's no switch here, so I think what we'll do is we'll attach... We'll play down the Victini Prism because we want to keep that. And then we'll just start doing some thinning to remove some cards from our deck. Now, we'll probably end up getting rid of most of our Jirachis here, I think. I don't think we really need them anymore now that our bench is full. And then we'll Dedenne, we'll just hope to hit a switch. I mean, that's realistically all that we could do. An Escape Board, so we could potentially get, like, just, like, 1 less energy. So I think it's probably better to just Revenge Blast. It sucks. 120, but it's okay. But the best thing is, with Dubwool, we have 30 damage reduction, so we're not in... oh my god, what a hand! Unbelievable! They've got energy and research. We're not in danger of being knocked out. Oh, but Zacian will have the extra 30 because of the Altered Creation. So this is quite scary. We could very easily lose 3 energy here, but we've got half hit onto the ADP already. And it looks like, oh my word, are they seriously about to custom catcher something here? They're going to custom catcher it, then we're in big trouble here. We are in really, really big trouble, because if they get 1 more gust, they knock out a Dedenne and they win the game. I do not like that. I think, I'm not sure how many energy we have in the bin right now. We'll have a look in a second, but I think we need to attack with Victini. As ridiculous as that sounds, like, I mean, we could put the Dubwool forward, but that'll get knocked out. Put the Heatran forward, that'll get knocked out. I think we just have to hope. Hope beyond hope that we get Victini, and that's a pretty strong card to get off of the discard. We can grab some more energy. We currently have 6, so we're doing 120 damage. If we use Giant Hearth, we'll be doing 140 damage. We need to be doing just that little bit more, so we might need to potentially... it's hard because I'm thinking we need to Dedenne almost, but we don't have one left. We could use Ninetales to get the knockout on a Zacian. That could potentially work, but this is gonna be a real awkward here. We've got Giant Hearth, so we'll be able to play that. We'll be able to grab ourselves some energy back. We'll get rid of the Victini because he's not required here. We've got 2 energy in hand. Now let's see if we get a Welder. We've thinned as much as we can. We get one, so that's good. And I guess we're just going to have to Infinity here. We'll chuck a couple of energy onto the active. And we've got ourselves a pretty solid hand, to be fair. A pretty solid hand. We're going to need to gust something up, though. We're going to need to gust one of those Zacians up to take a knockout here, because realistically, we're not going to be able to do enough. Oh, no, wait, we could use Fiery Flint to discard those 2 fire energy, and then we'll just put them back in the deck anyway. That could be a way to go about it. So do we need to gust at all? Is it worth it? If we gust, then they need to... Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm just trying to decide what the best way is to take a knockout here, because if we leave those 2 Zacians powered on the bench, they could potentially take 2 knockouts and just win the game. I think we need to take the knockout on this ADP, though, and then hope that we manage to get ourselves into our reset stamp. We'll see how we go. This is a big risk. This is a big risk, because we very easily could get punished very heavily for this. We'll see how we go. Although, oh, hang on, I forgot we took the prize on the Oranguru, so we should be fine. I just realised we have 2 prizes left. Okay, so now I'm feeling better. Yeah, we should be fine to win this game realistically, because now, no matter what they promote, if they don't knock out the Heatran, we should realistically win the game, because we've got the GX attack, so we'll just win. Okay. All those people that were furiously typing out messages telling me that I was being an idiot, yes, I was. miscount the amount of prizes that we had. They've manied here. We still have to hope that we don't get gusted, because we very easily could just get gusted and we lose. So that is a danger. Quick balls come out here, so I might be looking for like Dedenne or something. Maybe run through a few more of their cards. They don't have anything. So yeah, okay, cool. There it is. We win. How about that? So Firebox ends up putting on enough pressure that our opponent's ADP Zacian has to concede. That's the beauty of a Welder deck, right? Heatran can just do a lot of damage out the gates, and if you open poorly, we can easily punish it. There's the list. I hope you've enjoyed it. Firebox is one of my favourite decks. I really, really like it. I've always liked it as soon as it came out, as soon as people were playing it at World Championships when Henry ended up winning with the Mewtwo Welder deck. I always liked Firebox a little bit more, don't tell Henry, but it's probably my favourite deck going around at the moment. Whether it's the most competitive, I'm not sure. We'll have to check it out over the next few weeks. And if you've enjoyed our video, then please consider checking us out a little bit more frequently. There is a little button here that you can use to subscribe. Over here are some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and there's a bit of a playlist down the bottom to show you more Rebel Clash gameplay, as well as some cool deck lists that you could use on the ladder. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along to this one, and we'll see you all next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.